mysterious story with just enough threads to keep you theorizing.
Is that Kirby? Wait, what the hell? Why is Kirby there? What's up, guys? So today we're gonna do a series that I'm excited to do. So I don't really know anything about the Five Nights at Freddy's lore and whatnot, right? I know William Afton. I know what he did to the kids. The Golden Freddy suit, someone was stuffed in it. I don't know if that was him who was stuffed in it. No, he's stuffed in a Springtrap thing. That's about all I really know. The spirits of the kids are in animatronics and whatnot. But, so, what I decided to do is, I decided to go back and Matt Pat's lore breakdown because he's one of my favorite people to watch when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy's stuff, and I imagine a lot of you guys as well. Now I know a lot of this is probably outdated because this came out like, I don't know, almost a decade ago. 8 years ago, dude. That's crazy. Yeah, 2014, that's when this game came out. That's crazy. It's been that long. Holy shit. I was still in middle school when this came out. That's so crazy to think about. But, the original video will be down, link in the description if you guys want to go see it for yourselves. This is called the Game Theory Five Nights at Freddy's Scariest Monster Is You. If you haven't seen Matt Pat's videos, go check him out. Go check out dude makes great fucking videos. And without further ado, let's do it.
What I found was some of the most
It's funny that he says that. We're getting deeper and deeper into the story. Oh man, and he's still going. Because that's why it's funny. Because his theories are still going to this day, 8 years later.
interesting storytelling, most intriguing mysteries, and most disturbing events I'd read about in a long time. Now, if you were just to play the game straight through 5 days, the story would actually come across as pretty superficial. You're the new night guard watching the security cameras at a Chuck E. Cheese style restaurant called Freddy's.
Yeah, I feel like that's what makes these games as big as they are, right? The story alone. And that's why I got excited for the FNAF movie, was because I feel like they could do a lot with just a story alone. I think it's a really good story.
Fazbear's Pizza. 4 animatronics roam the halls at night because the owners don't want their servos to lock up. Bad news is, you can't let them near you.
Also, speaking of the FNAF movie, Matt Pat better be in it. I'm just saying, I need to put that out there. I know it has nothing to do with video, but Matt Pat has to be in it. Come on, Markiplier and Matt Pat has to be in it. I'm convinced Markiplier's in it. I don't know if Matt Pat is, but Markiplier, I'm highly convinced he's in it.
Else they'll kill you on the spot because you look like a naked endoskeleton. Ow, ow! Show them those circuits! Apparently, one of them bit someone back in 87, presumably 1987.
The bite of 87?
He recorded phone messages to act as your tutorial. That is, as much as he could record before he got himself killed. And that's it. Stay 5 nights, collect your paycheck, done, game over, play something new. But playing it that way is doing the game a huge disservice, because that's not even scratching the surface. If you're really observant, you start to unravel the layers of unsolved mysteries around this place. You find that there's a 5th animatronic, that posters on the wall will change randomly, that news clippings appear and disappear, telling the dark secrets of this twisted place.
I never
Putting it
looked
all
at those.
together, here's the rest of the story.
You know, I got Golden Freddy the first time I ever played Five Nights at Freddy's back in 2015? 2016, I think I played it. Yeah, it was like 2016, the first time I ever played Five Nights at Freddy's, and I got Golden Freddy that first night. I didn't know what the fuck to do because I never even seen that before at that point. I forgot about all those Easter eggs about the wall, like with the whole what's it called? The newsletter papers and stuff like that. That's cool.
Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, once a popular restaurant, fell into hard times when 5 children went missing there after being lured to a back room by a man dressed in a character costume. Though a suspect was caught and convicted, the bodies of the children were never recovered. The pizzeria was also threatened with shutdown due to sanitation complaints, as foul odors started to come from the animatronics, blood and mucus oozing from their eyes and mouths. The last article, written years after the incident, states that the pizzeria would finally be closed by year end. In addition to the core 4 robots, Chica, Bonnie, Freddy, and Foxy, there's also a 5th, unofficially referred to as Golden Freddy. Ignoring the rules of physics, Golden Freddy appears and disappears at will, can inexplicably travel through doors, wherever, causing strange hallucinations. And when he attacks you, you're not taken to the typical game over screen. Your game
No, it's game over. Yeah, it's game over.
So that's unsettling. And there's also strange messages appearing on the walls, repeating the words, "It's me." According to the game's creator, the place is indeed haunted by what we can only assume to be the spirits of the 5 lost children. So that's the gist of it. Murder, missing children, foul odors, killer
I
robots.
always have a hard time. I know he puts like Easter eggs in all these games, but I always have a hard time trying to comprehend what's happening in the games because you try to figure out what the hell is going on in the game and trying to beat it and trying to avoid whatever else is going on, but trying to figure it out at the same time. Also, with all the Five Nights at Freddy's, after every other game I play, I'll be watching the game theory. I have played 1 through 3, so link will be down in the description for that, by the way. I felt like I forgot to point that out. I have beat this full first Five Nights at Freddy's, even 2020 mode, which took forever.
Robots, and pizza. But that story leaves a lot of lingering questions. Who is your character? How's he fit in? Why does he stay for 5 nights when he's very clearly confronting the possibility of death?
'Cause he's
what more
broke
can we
as
know
hell.
about this terrifying golden Freddy? And most importantly, what is the complete story behind Five Nights at Freddy's? They're all good questions about a delightfully incomplete and mysterious story with just enough threads to keep you theorizing. So now, if you'll indulge me, let me
that Kirby?
reciprocate that story.
Wait, what the hell? Why is Kirby
threads
there?
to keep you theorizing. So now, if you'll indulge me, let me reciprocate that story with one of my own. I think you'll find it interesting. December 1993, Aurora, Colorado. 10 p.m. Tuesday night at a local Chuck E. Cheese. After a family birthday party runs long, manager Margaret Kohlberg and teenage employees Sylvia Crowell, Ben Grant, Colleen O'Connor, and Bobby Stevens are forced to stay late to close up shop. But as Margaret tallies receipts in the back, Bobby scrubs down the kitchen and the other 3 work outside in the main arcade. Unknown to any of the 5, there's actually a 6th person locked in the building with them, waiting silently in the darkened restrooms. A 19-year-old named Nathan Dunlap. Earlier that year, Nathan had begun working there as a cook, dough master, before getting fired in July after a disagreement over his hours. Now, 5 months later, he was back. At 10:05, he left the bathroom, pulled out a small caliber handgun, and proceeded to execute everyone in the building.
Shit.
First Sylvia, then Ben, then Colleen. Dunlap then moved to the kitchen, where he surprised Bobby Stevens. The bullet entered Bobby's jaw, sending him sprawling onto the ground. Then finally, Nathan moved to the back, the office, where Margaret opened the safe before Nathan shot her twice, proceeded to grab her bag, filling it with $1,600 in cash, arcade tokens, and keychains. Spurred on by the building security footage, police were at his home a few hours later, where he was promptly arrested. Eventually, he was tried and sentenced to death, but his story re-entered the news just recently as his punishment has been postponed, leading people to debate whether he's able to sleep soundly, knowing that his execution has been delayed. This is a tragic story, a disgusting waste of human life, and one that I won't joke about or make fun of in any way, but I want to address it because I have a strong suspicion that this story is the one that inspired Five Nights at Freddy's. Let's look at the facts. First, I
Holy
don't think that there's any
shit.
doubt that Freddy's
I didn't know about that. Damn. Wow.
parody of Chuck E. Cheese. From the singing animatronics
What
to
a
the alliterative
fucking psycho, dude.
naming of the characters, the parallels are just obvious, so the setting is certainly the same. Next, what year does Five Nights take place? The time is certainly kept vague, but there are clues that we can put together. For one, the Chuck E. Cheese franchise had a tremendous period of growth and success in the late 80s and early 90s, but started to decline along the same time as arcades with at-home video games.
I said that and Stereo picked me up.
Taking center stage. So that's one clue, but we can get even more detailed, specifically with your character's paycheck. Each night you're working a 6-hour shift, and you're spending 5 nights there. So that's 30 hours of total work time for $120. In total, $4 an hour.
He's getting ripped off hard. I looked at that, I did the math, and I'm like, damn, he's getting ripped off bad. For what? What is this? What's the date? 1990.
Minimum wage was $3.80. In
That's
1991,
crazy.
it was raised to $4.25. And by 1996, you were looking at
I
about
imagine things were a lot cheaper then, from what I've heard. Obviously, I was born in 2002, but I always heard stories that things were a lot cheaper then, that inflation happened and we got fucked.
$5 an hour. So the game seems to take place between 1991 and 1996. The Nathan Dunlap story took place in 1993. But let's move on to the most important comparison, the victims. In the game, there were 5 child victims. In the real life story, there were also 5 victims. But we can get even more specific. Online theories about the game always tend to draw a parallel between the number of kids missing to the number of animatronics, saying that the children's bodies were stuffed in the various suits. suits. And this appears to be true. Bonnie and Chica both have moans and raspy breath sound effects, as though someone's trying to cling to the last threads of their lives stuffed inside the costumes. And other sounds made by the animatronics are just slowed down versions of children's laughs and screams. Additionally, as the news clipping mentions, the suits
starting to get PTSD from this game. I'm starting to get PTSD from when I played it.
ooze blood and mucus and begin to stink like decaying bodies or reanimated corpses. So 5 victims, 5 suits. Seems like a slam dunk, but nowhere does it say that all 5 were murdered, only that they went missing and couldn't be found. Also, the trouble a lot of people have with this theory is Golden Freddy. Why is that guy so limp and lifeless? So unlike the others. It's weird, until you go back to the real life story. Yes, there were 5 people shot that night in Chuck E. Cheese, which matches the 5 victims in Freddy's story, but of those, 1 survived. Bobby, the one from the kitchen, miraculously survived the shot to his jaw. After he was knocked to the floor by the bullet, he went limp, played dead, to avoid the killer coming back to finish the job. And that relates exactly to the advice you're given on night 3 by the phone guy.
Is he still alive? Wow. Damn, that's smart. That's a smart move.
Again, let me reiterate that I'm not trying to make light of the real-life events by comparing them to bear costumes and animatronics, but I do want to point out that these similarities do exist. And what else is limp and appears to be a lifeless, empty suit in the game? Golden Freddy. Surviving the attack, Bobby was able to go to trial and be a damning piece of evidence in the case against Nathan Dunlap, ultimately leading to his death sentence. Which animatronic surprises you by appearing randomly? The one you don't expect and has no clear pattern? Golden Freddy. It's also worth mentioning that of all the cameras in the restaurant, one is always black, preventing you from seeing what's going on. That camera is located in the kitchen, leading many to assume it's where Golden Freddy hides, which just so happens to be the place Bobby was able to survive the attack. So I ask, odd coincidence or source of inspiration? In fact, if you think about it, the behavior of the animatronics really corresponds with key features of each of the real-life story's victims. We just covered Golden Freddy and Bobby, but the
I've heard a lot of theories about this game and stuff like that, but this is not one I have heard. I'd never heard of this one. This one's just kind of all new to me.
have strange parallels too. Bonnie goes into the utility closet filled with floor cleaning supplies, the most prominent ones being a mop and a broom. It's probably one of the most random rooms in the game, until you consider that Ben, the second victim, was vacuuming at the time of the attack. Foxy is kept sequestered in the back of the building, behind a curtain, more aggressive than all the rest, similar to the way Margaret, the manager, was in the back office counting receipts at the time of the murder, and her role as manager would inherently make her more aggressive or assertive. Sylvia was closest to the bathroom and was cleaning up the salad bar at the time of the attack. Chica walks past the bathroom and is associated with food. And Freddy, well, he doesn't have that strong of a parallel with Colleen, but he does appear in the girls' restroom. Odd for what we would assume to be a male.
Oh, I didn't even know he goes
Maybe
there.
It's a reference to Colleen being a girl, or a nod to Nathan's plan of hiding in the bathroom until he was ready to attack. Alright, after doing all the research, reading every fan theory in existence, and putting all the clues together, what can this mean for the story of the game? I think the game is an allegory for that night back in 1993. Here's my final interpretation. You, Mike Schmidt, are the murderer, former employee of Freddy's Pizzeria. Like Nathan in the real story, you were fired for the reasons stated in the Day 7 pink slip: tampering with the animatronics, being unprofessional, odor. Maybe it was your tampering with the robots that caused the infamous bite of 87. Regardless, like Nathan, you were mad and wanted to get even. So you lured children to the back using a...
And then it turned. Wait, I'm gonna see if he says it, because William Afton wasn't a thing, right, at this point. Because I don't think he was a thing till the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 came around.
Costume, killed them, stuffed their bodies into the animatronic suits, hoping to get the place shut down, then left. Notice that the newspaper clippings never say it's an employee of the company luring the children away, but we know it must have been someone with access and knowledge of the employees-only section of the building. And as the newspaper clippings clearly show, just like Nathan, you were caught almost immediately, captured on the security footage. You were arrested, tried, and convicted, forced now to live on death row. The Freddy's Pizzeria you work in now are just the nightmares that haunt you, taunting you every night with the phrase, "It's me, it's me." It is you. You are the killer. The nightmare is also why everything is so surreal. Posters switching at random, heads on the animatronics
I didn't even know about that
glitching,
poster
Golden
thing. That's
Freddy
new to me.
appearing and disappearing at will, taunting you as the one that got away. It's also why you're only at the pizzeria from midnight to 6 a.m. every night. It's a nightmare. It's in your sleep.
You know, even though I think this theory has changed with the third game and stuff like that, this was a pretty good theory for the time. Like, just this game based alone, he dug deep for this. Like, I didn't realize like how far, because I haven't watched like a FNAF breakdown in a couple years. It's interesting knowing what we have now and seeing what the theories were back then.
The place you created, a restaurant long closed as evidenced by the spider webs, and overrun with angry spirits out for revenge on you, and you alone as the one who took their lives, as evidenced by them completely ignoring the naked endoskeleton elsewhere in the building. It's also a place you can't escape from, why you find yourself back there night after night, even after you complete your 5 nights. See you back next week, the ending text goes. You're unable to leave this terror, the threat of death, the guilt, because it never ends. And in a delightfully ironic twist, your personal hell forces you to supervise the exact same security footage that led to your capture in the first place. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory.
Hell yeah.
Sweet dreams.
Hell yeah. That's crazy from everything we know now to what was back then. I did not even hear that story about the Chuck E. Cheese and whatnot. I didn't know that. Maybe that is where this inspiration came from. I don't know if he like Scott Cawthon has said anything. I don't know. Did he comment in this video? I've seen him comment on some of you YouTubers' videos. It's funny that he did this, and then like years later, how many videos are on this playlist? We got 71 game theory FNAF videos, which is cool because he's a guy to go to for these. Like, there's 2 people you go for FNAF stuff: Markiplier and MatPat. Right? You go to Markiplier to watch it, then you go right after MatPat to go and see the game theory for it, which there's only like a handful of the game theories I've actually seen. Like, I've seen like the sister location ones, and I think I've seen some of FNAF 4's ones. I kind of fell off from the games after that, but I have seen most of the things before sister location to like around maybe like FNAF 3. Like, those are the kind of the few I've seen. But I've always said that he makes great videos. So I know that kind of sounds weird. It's like, oh, you're saying he makes great videos. We haven't seen some. I've seen like a handful of game theories videos. I've seen some of security breaches a little bit. I haven't seen all of it. I don't remember what happened in it, but because I wanted to wait to watch it with you guys, so I'll just wait for the opportunity to see it. But if you guys like the video, like, comment, subscribe. Hell yeah, go check out the game theory if you haven't. Why? Go check out MatPat. And yeah. Peace.
Ain't no simpin', just pimp chimpin'. Ain't no simpin', just pimp chimpin'. Ain't no simpin', just pimp chimpin'. Ain't no simpin', I'm just pimp chimpin'. Ain't no simpin', just pimp chimpin'. Ain't no simpin', just pimp chimpin'. Ain't no simpin', just pimp chimpin'. Ain't no simpin'.